This show just keeps on getting better and better. This episode had a lot to tackle, and it did it all brilliantly. Drama, emotion, great character moments that added so much depth. From beginning to end, this episode fired on all cylinders. This is the second last episode of the season, and there were still plenty of questions in the air, so I was worried that the show would rush to cram in all the answers. But the beginning of the episode eased my concerns. Within the first 5 minutes of the episode, we were given so much vital information in a naturally engaging way. The way they showed General Lane's backstory was very well done. The quick summation of Lane and Waller's relationship, followed by the classic villainous monologue that neatly packages some important exposition. Watching a show try to shove exposition down your throat can sometimes be a grueling thing to sit through. Most shows and films are terrible at handling it, but General Lane's backstory was efficient, doing a solid job of unpacking his past experience with Kryptonians and their tech, and his relationship with Amanda Waller. My favorite moment here is where the General recognizes Superman's humanity, seeing Superman break down and cry, showing how young and afraid and vulnerable and human this seemingly invulnerable alien is. And then showing us that the General wasn't completely soulless. He has empathy. This is all established in one scene, and it perfectly sets up the tone and the events throughout the episode. It was also good to finally get confirmation that this is indeed General Sam Lane.
Sam, where are you?
And seeing Waller seemingly use Lois as a way to threaten Sam was just one of the many things this episode did to highlight who the true villain of the two is. Amanda Waller is cold-blooded. Unlike Sam, she has no empathy whatsoever. The character dynamics between the two were well done. Before I get into how awesome Superman was in this episode, I want to quickly touch on Lois. She has so much on her plate, and she's naturally struggling to deal with everything. The small heart-to-heart between Lois and Jimmy was really nice to see, and it was really great to see Lois try her best to help in any way that she could, using all the help she could get. Lois has received plenty of scrutiny from fans for some of her choices, but no one can deny how her heart is in the right place, and she is always willing to do the most for Clark. The thing that makes this version of Lois so endearing to me is that she is flawed, yet still pure in her intentions. And the ending of this episode, where she just needs to take initiative, even when the thing she needs to help take down is a massive kaiju parasite, really highlighted how dedicated and important she is to Clark. I'd argue this is the best version of Lois Lane we have had on screen since Superman, the animated series. And that's a big call for me to make, considering how many great Lois Lanes we've had over the years. The indisputable highlight of this episode is the main man himself. This episode was just such a perfect Superman story. This show definitely takes a lot of creative liberties with the source material, with basically every character having a different origin or backstory to them. But all of that works because the characterization of the main character is bang on the money. The writers stay so true to the heart of Superman, and that heart really shined through in this episode. What makes this incarnation of Superman so faithful in my eyes is his pure selflessness and determination to stay good no matter the situation.
I never wanted to fight anyone. I only wanted to help.
When the General is grilling him while he's chained up and being drained of energy, he still doesn't crack at all. In fact, his heart and vulnerability in this moment is what helps get the General off his back. His commitment to minimizing violence and damage is seen all throughout this episode, from avoiding to engage with Parasite to trying to minimize the amount of damage he does to him when taking him out. This whole action sequence was really well done, and it was all capped off with a really badass and very Superman line.
Don't you read the paper?
I'm Superman.
This whole episode really broke Superman down, but they built him back up so beautifully. Even in his weakest moments, he finds a way to rise above, inspire the people, and use his powers for good. This episode was a quintessential Superman story. Every element works, and an element that I was really happy to see play its part was the city of Metropolis. Seeing everyone come together to help Superman save the day was such a genuinely emotional moment. It really reminded me of moments from the Spider-Man films where everyday people stepped up to help the hero in times of need. It's the type of earnest moment that hasn't been in enough superhero media as of late. And that's another thing I need to shout out. It's how unashamedly earnest this show is. Comic book media, for far too long, has been allergic to being this genuine out of fear of being cringe, I guess. Undercutting dramatic or sappy moments with a joke is an easy way to avoid complaints of being cheesy, but it's also an easy way to devalue the emotion of the moment.
If he asked me to burn the world down, I would have asked him.
Beef or vegetarian? Roll out of the chicken, so I can only offer you beef or vegetarian.
But this show leans fully into the wholesomeness and earnestness of every moment as it should, and it is so refreshing. The episode ends with Jimmy finding Lois's secret file on Superman. Jimmy has shown himself to be quite mature when it comes to Clark being Superman so far, so I'm hoping they don't betray this aspect of the character for needless drama. I also doubt the writers will retread the same arc all over again with another character with just one episode left. This honestly might just be the perfect episode. If the next one manages to be better, this series isn't just merely good, it will go down as great. I'm reviewing every episode of My Adventures with Superman, as well as making other videos like this Across the Spider-Verse theory of mine that I promise you is worth a watch. So please feel free to subscribe and check out my other videos.